Welcome back to Sampstra Games, the place to find new strategy games, and welcome to my top 5 tricks on Immortal Realms Vampire Wars with the Nosfernus clan. So before I tell you the tricks, we first gotta talk about what makes the Nosfernus clan different. Well, it's blood points. There is no passive income or upkeep of the blood points. So that means that in order to gain blood points, you need to either use up your cards that give you blood points, or you need to feed inside a village. So for example, if you move into a village here and you feed, you will gain those blood points. You can see we have plus 18 over here. Now this has a lot of different effects. So first of all, it means that you can have big armies. So if you're playing with other clans, like for example the Dracul clan, and you have a really big army, each unit costs you some upkeep every single turn. So you're gonna have to make sure that you have enough of blood points, because you most likely will be losing them every turn. That's not the case for the Nosfernus clan. Now, another thing to keep in mind when you're playing with the Nosfernus clan is because of the way the blood points work, that there's no like upkeep and things like that, a lot of these focuses that you gain are going to be irrelevant for you. For example, blood income is increased by 15% is completely irrelevant to you because you do not gain any blood income passive. This does not apply for feeding. You need to have extra thing that says blood from feeding is increased, and then that's good, but this blood income doesn't matter. Another thing is units upkeep, irrelevant to you, so do not pick focuses that just give you that because it's useless for you. You're not gaining any positive income plus per turn. So none of these villages, if this was like a Dracul village, this would give you like +2 every turn, but this gives you nothing. So this leads me to my very first tip. So the first tip is gain an additional lore. A really good tip for this game is very early on, within like the first I would say 5 or 6 turns, gain and go to the manor, for example this one, and gain an additional lord. It doesn't cost you much, it only costs 8 blood points, and you can pick any new lord. It doesn't really matter what kind of lord you pick. I would recommend picking one that's going to be eventually useful for you in combat, but it doesn't matter too much. And then you can place this new lord on some sort of a keep, and the only job of this lord is to run around into cities and villages and feed in them, because every time you feed in a city and in a village, it will give you the points. So that's the only job for this particular lord. Now this is going to be really helpful for you because you can use your main army lord to go out there and explore and fight, and you don't have to always come back to the cities or the villages to gain the points. Alright, tip number 2 is about research, and that's you should try to get as quickly as possible towards first the hunger. Feed action is now free, and then towards the horror. Feed action now gives +1 action point. So I already explained, when it comes to the Nosfernus clan, feeding is super important because that's essentially, aside from cards, the only thing that gives you blood points. You're going to be doing it a lot. So make sure that you can utilize this as much as possible by gaining additional action points. I can't tell you how many times in this game I have gotten that 1 action point which allowed me to recruit additional unit before combat, or go out and attack an enemy and not let them run away and things like that. It's very useful. Now a bit of a bonus tip here that's actually more applicable if you're playing for the Dracul clan than for Nosfernus clan, but it's still pretty useful, is try to feed in winter, because then, especially if you run out of action points and you end up in the village, you can feed in winter, and then immediately on the following turn in spring you can feed again, because well, villages and cities, they have growth per year, and this always activates on spring. It doesn't matter when you build an upgrade or when did you do it, every time in spring the population grows. So now if I end my turn, it's going to be spring again. Now you can see that it's spring and the village is filled up again, so I can feed on it one more time. Tip number 3 are skeleton warriors. So skeleton warriors have this ability called Undying, which means that when they die, they respawn once with 33% health. But what's more important here is that if the unit dies and the new unit respawns, and the new unit survives the end of the combat, they will remain in your army and then you can heal them up to full HP. So they're not like temporary unit, they will stay with you after combat. This means that you can utilize that in many ways. First of all, if you're playing in the sandbox and you're playing as the Nosfernus clan, you're going to gain these abilities like Sacrifice, destroy an allied unit, your lord is healed for a certain amount, or Corpse Explosion, destroy target unit below 33% health, and etc. You can use these on the skeleton warriors, you can kill them, then they will respawn, which means you actually not lost any unit and you get the bonus of this particular card like being healed or things like that. So that's something to keep in mind, is that you can kill this unit off for free without getting any negative benefit essentially. Also, you might want to kill them if they have less than 33% health, because then by killing them you're actually healing them because they're respawning back with more HP. Now this is a great segue to tip number 4, and that's Necromancer. Necromancer has an amazing ability that if he kills an unit, it will respawn as a summoned zombie, ghoul, or skeleton. This new summon unit will not stay with you after combat, it will disappear, so they're great for like meat fillers. Essentially you want to place them in front of an enemy and allow the enemy to hit them instead of your units, because that's then protecting your units. And you could also use the abilities that we just talked about in the previous tip, like Sacrifice and Corpse Explosion. Tip number 5, utilize prisons. What prisons do is they allow you once per year recruit a unit into your army. Now these units are usually very high level, like for example I can show it to you right here. It's actually level 3 units. Now if I were to get this level 3 unit normally, what I'd have to do is I would have to go to some sort of a place and then I have to build these upgrades. Now these upgrades, these level 3 upgrades cost me additional 30 blood points just to be able to get that, and then I have to do the recruitment. Also, you might not be able to even build the upgrade because you first have to research it in the research 3. So the prisons can allow you to get fairly early in the game really powerful units without having to build the specific upgrades, which I think can be very useful. Alright, let me know in the comments what are your favorite tips for playing as the Nosfernus clan, and you can click on the right to watch my let's play of the sandbox on harder difficulty. I'll see you there. Bye bye!